that left fork is barely doing anything.
It's on the back.
Okay, I'm not going to show you the good stuff quite yet. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. First, I want to tell you a little bit about this table, how I made it, show you some footage of the process, so you have a better idea of why I'm doing this and why I think this is kind of interesting, cool. So what I want to tell you, what's interesting about this table, and what makes this table so hard to build, is this is entirely reclaimed material where we left the rough patina surface. Nothing is milled or dimensioned to square. So like I was saying, since this is reclaimed and we don't have square faces, I've had to get creative on how I can cut the joinery, because this table needs really solid joinery both at this connection, at that connection, and at that. I want to take you through that process real quick. I had some real creative solutions here that I think you guys would like to see. So let's walk through that. So the first thing I need to do is make 6 plates that essentially match the end profile of all the beams. So I'm using 3/4 plywood screwed to the top of the beam and a flush trimming bit to just basically trim that plywood to match the profile of the beam. Once I have the plates made, I take them to my CNC and make these elongated holes that you see in them, and I have a bushing set in my router that you'll see here in a second that fits into those holes and then cuts a 1/2 inch mortise into the workpiece. So I'll cut the 2 mortises in this foot piece, and then I'll take that same plate that I just made, that same template, flip it over and attach it back to the beam like I'm doing here, and cut the exact same matching mortises into the beam so everything pairs up and matches perfectly. I've got a vacuum here set up so I can pull the chips out because they tend to clog up in there. So I've got the floating tenons in, and you can see how well this all fits and comes together. It's really an easy process for making these joints. As long as you're using the same plate on each part and flipping it properly, it works every time. And you get a good snug fit in that dado. We're going to go over that here in a second. Okay, so now that I have that joint figured out and I've showed you how that works, let's turn our attention to let's see if we can brighten up a little here, to this joint here. So I've basically got to cut 2 pockets on each side. This is purely decorative here, just kind of an extension of this beam. It's cut in a way that the grain travels with it, so that looks cool. And it has a nice little detail on the end there, but it doesn't have any purpose other than it just looks good. So I've got to cut both these pockets, which I'm going to do on the table saw, and I'll make a jig to do that as well. So let's see how that happens. So it's impossible to get accurate results off of the beam itself riding on the table saw and the fence. So I have these 2 pieces of plywood attached to each side. After I attach them, I'll go to the joiner and joint one side of them, and then go to the planer and plane them. So I have an equal distance apart, and they're in the same plane. They're coplanar. So once I have that, I have a way to register my beam against the fence and also on the table saw and keep it in the same spot when I flip it. So since all the beams obviously are at a square, we don't have any flat faces, I don't want to cut a straight line on my table saw. I leave a little waste there and then scribe my beam and use a chisel to follow that scribe line and make it an exact match to the beam. It makes a really, really pretty look on the table, and it keeps you from having a lot of big gaps. Okay, so I do a quick dry fit here after I got my pockets cut. I've got this long stretcher beam that I've cut the ends, and it's really hard to get those ends perfectly square. There's really nothing to reference on to know if you're square. So what you have to do is dry fit the table base and take measurements and see how out of line those posts are. You know, I can tell if I'm a 1/4 inch different on my measurement. I know I need to make some adjustments, and of course in this I did need to make some adjustments, and I just use my hand plane and I mark on the beam what material I want to take, and it really doesn't take a lot of material to tweak and adjust that 1/4 inch or 3/8 or however much you need to bring everything into close enough tolerance so that it doesn't look out of square. Okay, so we've got the base and the upright, all that joinery cut. It's basically all the same. We're just making that end plate, cutting the dado, and then using the end plate to route out all the floating tenons. And then it's just a matter of making the material for the tenons, which I made out of oak. So the next step was to put these on. I didn't get a lot of footage of that, how that joint works, but it basically slides into a pocket on the post, and there's shoulders on both the cross beam and on the upright, and those shoulders allow for a little bit more strength instead of just sliding it into that slip and not having any shoulder to grab it. And you'll notice this when I have some footage of the assembly. You'll see those shoulders, and when I'm gluing them up, and that may make more sense on how that strengthens that joint. So the final part that I didn't really film any of was just the glue up of the top, but I'll talk you through it and kind of explain it. The unique thing about this table is this top is actually made from one solid beam. It was 30 feet long by about 15 inches wide by about 4 inches thick. And we cut that beam in half, and then we resawed each half into 2 extra pieces. So you had a total of 4 pieces. Now we've got breadboard ends on the end that function and work. I use floating tenons just like on the base here. These 2 are glued in, and then you've got one here, and one here that are in elongated holes and allow that table to float. These breadboard ends are important to have. They function because your support of your base needs a little bit more to keep this tabletop flat. You've only got 2 points of support down low, so the breadboards just help in aiding in keeping the top flat. As far as the finish, I used a penetrating epoxy across the whole top, and I filled all the cracks and voids. It was actually a lot of work, and it took several weeks. All these bolt holes, those are all filled with epoxy from Total Boat, and they make a great penetrating epoxy. It's a very thin epoxy, and I rolled it on. I put on 2 or 3 coats and then sanded it down, and after that you keep that rustic look, but you don't have the wood grain catching you. You're not getting splinters, and it's going to be easy to clean. Once I get 4 or 5 coats of oil on this, there's not going to be any crumbs or anything that can get down in cracks. Everything's filled. So the client really wanted that, and that's something that we did with epoxy, and it was a lot of work, but it was worth it. So that really sums up the top. Now I know the fact that putting a car on top of a table is a total gimmick, and it is for entertainment in some ways, but I really want to show how strong the table is, and what better way to do it than to get a forklift and call Matt Carricker and grab his goblin and drop it on top of this table. I don't even know how to start it. I don't know how to chop for it.
Alright, you took your operator's course, right?
Yeah.
This is
your go, that's your back. Don't mess with that one, that'll get you in trouble.
And these 2 are really all you need.
That's the horn. Give me 5 minutes to play with this.
Yeah, maybe pick up something that's not a really awesome car.
Yeah. Okay, side to side here.
Oh, we can do that. That's good. It's touchy. Oh, God. All looks good. Okay.
Yeah!
Oh, my gosh. I don't think our insurance will allow it.
Can I stand on top of the Escalade?
Yeah, go for it.
Here we go.
Oh, man.
Oh, stop!
You gotta go up.
You gotta go up another.
You have to go up a
18
foot and a half.
inches.
Okay, hold on. If anyone hears a cracking noise, tell me to stop.
Don't worry about what Andy just said. We're going all the way.
I'm here too.
Oh, stop!
You need to go up a little bit.
What happened?
Go up we hit that back right tire and it torqued it.
Dude, real easily.
Yeah. It's balancing on that.
Is it that light?
Go up and in. There's just no weight on the front. All right, we're good.
How's this tire look?
Hey, Steven, you want to throw a jack under the back? Because all the weight's going to hit the back first.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
The back will
Hold on,
flip.
just straighten it out.
Here, hold that.
Okay, hold on.
What is that noise?
Wait. That's a good noise. Don't worry.
Okay. The back, but
Front's pretty light. Back's the one I'm worried about.
What was that?
It's all good. Keep it going, Andy. I feel like that back.
There's to go back.
What was that? Be careful. Keep it there. Be careful. Go a little down. You're almost off, dude. Keep going down. You're good. You good? That's it.
It's off.
Back it up.
Wait, watch that tire.
Hey, wait. While you're under there, let me take this jack off. Are you sure? Hey, Andy.
Yes.
I'm dropping the jack over here.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Okay.
Woodworking doesn't work out.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna push it as hard as I can. You ready?
Right?
Picking it up.
I'm just very happy that it's not broken. That's all I can tell you. And I'll feel even better when it's off the table. Although it looks incredible. To Matt, you told me this wasn't gonna work. What do you think, man? It
I
worked.
didn't say it wasn't gonna
I think
work.
you said it wasn't gonna work.
No. I said if it works, great. If it fails miserably, the YouTube video will be even better.
Hey, Matt.
I'm pretty sure David said it wasn't gonna work.
I don't think it. I want to see it taken off.
He says it's still not gonna work. I feel about the same. I want it to be taken off.
And where does it stop? It's like, okay, now someone else needs to pass it.
Yeah.
Now jump on it. Now rev the engine in neutral.
Okay, you're off.
You're good, clear.
You're good.
Back it up.
Where else you want me to put it?
Yeah, put it on that UPS van. Yeah. Get it! Try it, Jake. Push it. Go. You really could.
Yeah, I did it.
Dude! We did it! You, man.
Okay, I feel a great amount of relief right now. I'm glad that that worked out. I'm glad that that did not break the table. I had this idea actually a while back when I was building this table. I just knew, I was like, this table is so sturdy and well built. I texted the idea to Matt, which is where everything went south, and Matt was like, yes, of course, we have to do this. So I couldn't back out at that point. And I'm glad it all worked out. I know it was more of an entertainment value, but I think it does prove the fact that this table is really, really strong, mostly all on wood joinery and wood glue. There are some reinforcement 4-inch lag bolts, 2 on each bottom post there, that help. But this top beam here, which was holding a lot of that weight, is all wood glue joint. So I want to thank Matt for helping me out with that. Most of you probably know who Matt is, but if you don't, the link to his channel is in my description, so go check him out. Also, I want to let you know that we have these cool new hats available. We also have them in black, and we have these patches right here if you just want the patch over at Bunker Branding, so go check that out. That helps support my channel. And finally, I want to remind you that I have a new channel. It's about 3 weeks old. I'll put the link to that in my description. It's a really cool channel called Have It Made. I'd love for you to go check that out. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll see you next time.